This week on the Lucky Breaks podcast, we sit down with longtime PBIA pool instructor Bob Jewett. He breaks down why practice and targeted drills with the right kind of feedback is the key to getting better, faster, and winning more. We hope you enjoy. Welcome, everyone, to the next edition of the Lucky Breaks podcast. I am super excited today to bring to you Bob Jewett, who is a master instructor with the PBIA. Welcome, Bob.
Welcome to you.
Yes.
Welcome to everybody.
Yes. So excited to have you here. And we are going to talk a lot about coaching, finding the right coach, some of your techniques and approaches to coaching new students. Before we dive into that, though, I would love to hear your origin story, how you got started playing pool, and maybe your path to becoming a master instructor.
Ooh, a long time ago. So I've been playing pool since 1964.
Ooh.
When my friend got a pool table for his birthday. It was the kind that folds up and you can put it against the wall.
Oh, I have never seen one of those.
With, I guess it was a particle board bed, but it was good enough to learn on at the start. So I played on that more than he did, actually. So I really caught the bug, and it wasn't long before I pulled away from him and my other friends who were playing, and then I had to start playing the other guys who could run 4, 5, and 6 balls at a time.
Ooh, wow.
Yeah, that was pretty good for us.
Mm-hmm.
So that I played mostly at the college rec center when I started out. So I started, let's say, as a senior in high school and then in the college rec center. Then I just continued playing, gradually learning stuff. There was essentially no instruction when I learned. There was a guy over in the city, which was San Francisco for me, who had a notebook, and he would teach you specific shots, but there was basically nothing available about fundamentals. The idea back then was just, well, however you hit the ball, it's okay with us.
So would you just watch people and kind of imitate them, or?
So I did have a book that I learned from by William Mosconi, who is a many times world champion.
Yeah.
So I learned from that, but there was nobody to say, well, you're not actually doing it the right way. You should do it more like this.
Mm-hmm.
So that's the problem. You can't really see yourself what you were doing, especially back then when
No phone.
nobody had a camera that they could use like that.
Right.
But that book was very helpful to me to get most of my fundamentals down. And then I just gradually played more and more, some 10-hour days of playing.
Wow.
So I did really catch the bug. I started teaching just informally around 1970 when after 5 or 6 years, I had learned more than some of the people around me knew, so I started teaching informally then. When I went back to grad school around 79, then I actually started a formal course with handouts and everything at the UC Berkeley Rec Center. So that's when I first started thinking about what was really required, listing out all the subjects you have to teach, all the individual parts of how to play the game.
Question on that. So were you teaching folks from just the very beginner stage all the way to advanced, or, how did you find your students?
The people that I taught informally were various levels, but very few of them would regularly run recs.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
As far as the course I gave at the Student Union, they were essentially all beginners. One of the things that I've noticed is that very few advanced players, that is, players who will relatively frequently run a rec, feel that they need any kind of instruction.
Yes.
So right now, the vast majority of my students are beginners or people who are just retired and now they want to take up pool like they used to play.
Yeah.
So at any rate, I continued with that instruction. At the same time, I started to write for Billiards Digest. So some of the topics were more technical for that because I'm math and science background. So
yeah, that's helpful.
A little bit into the physics, but also more useful columns about how to practice and how shots work.
Mm-hmm.
Then around 1992, a friend of mine was involved in the original development of the BCA's instructor program. At that time, prior to that time, you could go to a BCA trade show, sit in a 4-hour seminar, and come out with an instructor certificate.
Oh, well, that sounds easy.
Yes, yeah, it was
too
pretty
easy.
easy, but the quality of the instructor probably depended a lot more on how they played before the seminar than the seminar itself.
Mm-hmm.
At any rate, at that time, they decided that there should be something more formal. So a friend of mine was involved with the program already, and he got me involved, and I got my certification from kind of the dean of instructors in the United States, which is Jerry Bryseth.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
He's been teaching for a long, long time.
Yeah.
Then I've been working with the PBI. Well, that was the BCA at the time. It's since changed to the PBIA.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, there are about 300 or 350 instructors certified in the United States and some other countries through the PBIA. So I've been working with that for quite a while.
Are they
in developing the program?
Yeah. Are they concentrated in particular areas? Because I'm just thinking, I don't know that I know anyone in San Diego where I spend a lot of time.
So the PBIA has a website where you can look up instructors by state. So
Okay.
I think there are some PBIA instructors around San Diego, and they're
Okay.
certainly in the Los Angeles
Yeah.
area.
Yeah.
So that really depends. With 300 instructors or so and 3 million people,
Right.
300 million people in the United States, there's one for every million people.
Yeah. Well, I guess they don't all want to play pool, but not yet anyway.
Well, not yet. So at any rate, along the way, as far as my own playing went, I won the National Collegiate Championship in 1975. Sadly, they don't have a collegiate championship anymore. And I've played in multiple professional tournaments, including a couple of world championships.
Wow, that's impressive.
So
Do you still compete?
I kind of gave up competition when COVID happened, and I really haven't gotten back with it. And of course, I'm getting older. Currently I'm 78.
Wow. Well, I'm sure you still play amazing, though.
I play okay.
Well, hopefully we get to see some of that later.
Yeah, I'd like to do some demos later.
Yeah, for sure, for sure. I'm curious what you found is different about teaching people how to play pool versus maybe teaching other skills or knowledge-based teaching. Like you said, the really good players don't think they need it, but is there anything else that stands out?
So I'm from kind of an academic background, having worked in science and engineering and things like that. So the thing about pool is that it's all physical. Mm-hmm. So the question is, how do you get somebody to make a shot? And that can be either very easy for some people or very hard. And for each person, when you're trying to develop a skill for them, it really comes down to individuals. That one person has one way of learning, another person has another way of learning.
Yeah.
They have different ways of seeing the shots. Depending on their physical shape,
Mm-hmm.
they have different ways of standing and so forth.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So, whereas with academic subjects, usually there's one kind of standard approved way of learning things.
Yeah.
Or one very specific set of concepts you have to learn. At pool, there are the concepts, but as far as the physical stuff goes, it's really comes down to individual training and getting the individual to develop mechanics that are effective.
Yeah. Yeah. And, I was just thinking about this. I have a friend of mine who is really inconsistent. And I think there's also a certain amount of self-awareness that it can be hard for people to learn when they're first beginners. Because some of the positions that we put ourselves in to play pool, it's not something we do anywhere else in life. And it's not something you really learn when you're playing sports in, say, grade school. It's not like a tennis kind of motion or volleyball. It's just very unique.
Right. So, and I find that a lot of players want to carry over how they would throw a baseball or how they would hit a tennis ball into pool, and it doesn't work very well.
Right.
It's really at pool you want to minimize the motion rather than get your whole body into the act.
Yeah, for sure. It's almost closer to golf. Like sometimes I'll compare it to golf because it has more, a swing has a whole path and a stroke has a path. I don't know. That's what I think about anyway.
Except it's even in that comparison, the motion should be a lot simpler than what the players do at golf. Golf, of course, is similar in that you don't have a ball coming at you
Yes, yes.
as you do in most sports.
Right. We're the ones directing motion onto the ball.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Awesome. And then how do you think a new player or a player who's maybe looking for a coach, how should they find one? Like what should they look for in a coach for themselves?
So it depends a lot on the skill level of the player. For a player who's beginning, what they really want is a coach or instructor who is ready to work on their fundamentals, to help them develop solid fundamentals. For all of the PBIA instructors, that includes videotaping, or video recording now, no more tape. Video recording and video analysis of the mechanics. The other thing is that, say, a semi-pro player who is giving instruction maybe on the finer points of strategy or special techniques probably forgot a long time ago what it's like to move their arms straight.
Right.
So they would probably not be too good for a raw beginner who is trying to learn basic fundamentals, or even for kind of the retirees that I mentioned earlier, who never learned the basic fundamentals, and now they're trying to come back to the game and they don't know why they're playing so poorly.
Yeah, exactly. So what is one of the first things when you have a new student, what is the first thing you're filming? I mean, are you filming them actually shooting balls, or are you starting with just where's your bridge, where do you put your cue, hand on the cue?
If it's a student I've never seen before, the first thing I want them to do is to shoot some balls. And I have a specific, it's actually part of a drill that I set up for them, except I don't point out that it's a drill. But I have them shoot increasingly difficult shots, and I try to see at what point they start having difficulties. Anyone can make a simple shot close to the corner pocket, but as the shots start to get difficult, then the mechanics or errors in the mechanics really start to show up. So that's what I'm looking for at first. There will be some students, a minority, who really have nothing to work on in that area, and then we can move on to other topics.
Right. Okay.
Position play or strategies or things like that.
Yeah.
But in general, I'll want them to start something active immediately. What I don't want to do for a student is to talk at them for 15 minutes and have them glaze over.
Right.
Get them on the table and playing quickly.
Yeah.
Shooting balls.
Yeah. You learn by doing.
Yeah.
Doing, watching, and then doing again, and sort of having that feedback loop. Is that?
Well, in general, I try to do shots myself only when the student can't perform them.
Okay.
Or if we get to a particular situation where the student simply can't continue, then I might show them how to continue from there. So mostly, ideally, it's going to be all the student shooting.
Okay, got it. And is there sort of do you have sort of I want to say lesson plan, but almost like an outline of the different,
Yes, I have. Normally at the first lesson, I have I think it's a 20-page handout that has all of the material that I would normally use in a 4-hour course for beginners. So that includes a bunch of topics like selecting a cue, chalking, basic stroke, basic bridges, and so forth, all the basic stuff. If in an individual lesson, then if the student is fairly advanced, and we skip over the easy stuff and get into the more interesting stuff. But for a lot of students I have that are beginners, then we pretty much go by the lesson plan for beginners.
Yeah, because they kind of build on each other too, right? It's hard to skip around.
A lot of students, if they don't have a fairly consistent stroking motion, then it's hard to make advances beyond that.
Right. And I'm curious about sort of the homework part of this. So I will admit I'm bad about practicing. And so I'm curious if you're an advocate for homework and practice.
So it depends on how much progress the student wants to make. It depends on how much they enjoy playing and how important advancing is to them. So when I started playing, I had many 10-hour days. Now, weekends were largely playing pool.
I'm not sure many of us can do that these days.
Well, if
It depends on
If you
how far
actually
you
have
want to
a
go.
job and stuff like that,
Yeah.
then it's very difficult.
Yeah.
But for even for people who have a job, if they're really dedicated to improving, 2 hours a day should not be a burden.
Yeah.
In fact, if it is a burden, then it's probably not for them. It's supposed to be fun.
Well, and I guess, it can still be fun even if your skills don't get to that level. I mean, I've sort of plateaued at a 5. I still have a great time. I win about 50% of the time. I have good days, I have bad days. It's still a lot of fun for me, even though I've plateaued. So I guess it's very
So,
personal.
so let me ask you a question. How many hours a week do you actually have dedicated practice?
0.
Okay, so a lot of people are comfortable with that, and there
Yeah.
are a lot of ideas we can go over
Mm-hmm.
in a lesson about how you might be able to play better with your current skill set.
Yeah.
But if you really want to make improvement, that's not going to do it.
Well, I think, and this is probably wrong of me, but I do play a lot of league, so I tend to look at every league match as my opportunity to practice. So it's conscious exercising of my skills, but it's
Okay.
not necessarily drills.
No, I'm
No.
afraid, sorry, no.
Oh, darn it.
That's
Okay.
not going to get it.
All right. All right.
Well, maybe we can discuss later specific
Yeah.
aspects of improving, but in my experience, a league where you play maybe one match
Mm-hmm.
and you maybe score a match and you maybe watch 2 matches
Yeah. Yeah.
of players who have trouble running 4 balls,
Mm-hmm.
this is not a way to improve.
Okay. All right. Well, then my next question then, since we're on this topic. So for me, what I love about pool is the social aspect.
Uh-huh.
And I think what I dread about practice is that it seems very solitary. What are your thoughts on
Well,
group practice?
if that's
Yeah.
an issue for you, all I
Yeah.
can suggest is that you find a practice partner.
Yeah.
That you find maybe drills or shots that you both need to work on.
Yeah.
That you both practice the shot, but also that each of you observes
Mm.
what the other appears to be doing wrong.
I love that.
Or if the drill requires a certain sequence of setups, the helper
Yeah.
can keep track of that, and the person who's actually doing the shooting can just work on the shots.
Yeah. Yeah.
And also get the feedback from the helper about what appears to have gone wrong
Yeah. Yeah.
or right in the
Yeah.
previous set of shots.
Well, yeah, you need to congratulate each other when you
Yeah.
nail it and you finally get it down. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I think I will try that. Beth, or maybe I'll have Beth be my practice partner. Okay, so you've talked about so you've mentioned that you are a master instructor with the PBIA, and I'm curious about how that program works. How would someone learn more about it? You mentioned a website. And what are some of the requirements for these instructors?
Okay, so as I mentioned, about 1992, the program started, originally labeled the BCA instructor program, and then when the leagues broke off, it became the PBIA. So I think it's playbetterbilliards.com, I think is the website.
Okay, we'll put
Or
a link in the
PBIA
show
will
notes.
get you there and instructors.
Uh-huh.
So there are 4 levels of instructor established. There's an initial level called recognized, and that is a person who has actually demonstrated an ability to teach and also has the ability to teach to a certain level,
Okay.
a certain number of topics. After that is called the certified level, which has a wider experience. They've already taught for a number of hours, registered a certain number of hours
Yeah.
online, and they can have able to teach a wider range of topics. The next level up is advanced, who has gone and worked with other instructors, master instructors or advanced instructors to develop their knowledge and technique so that they have a wider knowledge of both how to teach and the game itself.
Mm-hmm.
At the top level is the master instructor, who has worked with other master instructors and has demonstrated an exceptional ability to both teach and to train other instructors. So altogether, if one wanted to become a master instructor and had the ability, it would probably take 8 or 9 or 10 years. if they were really on a fast track. So it's, and both the advanced and the master instructor are able to train other instructors. There are extensive requirements for the various levels that are certified by the trainer, that the trainee can do those things.
Yeah.
And there's a fair amount of instructional material made available to the instructors in the instructor training manual and other resources.
So you don't have to start from scratch with your own material. You have
Oh
access
no,
to this library.
handouts like the handout I mentioned that I created, that's all available to the PBIA instructors and lots of other material as well.
Yeah, wow, that's really interesting. I'm definitely going to check that out. What can a new student kind of expect when they engage with one of the instructors? Is it typically, you mentioned a 4-hour starter class?
Well, most of the new students I teach, the first lesson is a 2-hour lesson.
Okay.
So that's enough to figure out exactly what their major problems are and what they need to work on. For an absolute beginner, it's kind of a quick introduction, and we work on their basic mechanics, how to make a bridge, how to stroke straight, and so forth. And also to show them some exercises. I won't call it a drill. Drills are boring, I guess.
Yeah.
Exercises.
Oh, yeah.
To develop those parts of their game. Then after they make they feel they're pretty well comfortable at the table, then we can go on to other things.
It's funny. Well, a couple follow-up questions to that. First of all, I'm curious, what are some of the common errors or mistakes people are making after they've played a few, maybe they've played a season in the APA or something. What are some of the common bad habits people are developing?
If they've only played a little bit, or sometimes even if they played a long time ago and they're coming back to the game, nearly all the students have some problem with their mechanics. Often it's not a smooth, straight stroke. Bridges are all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
They frequently don't know about some fairly common bridges that you'll see all the time in pro events and are perfectly suitable for the amateurs, except they've never really learned them.
Yeah.
So I would say the largest thing to start with nearly all students is getting their mechanics and their basics straightened out. And sometimes they kind of have to solve that problem before you can really go on.
Well, and it's what I was thinking about I was thinking about my bridge as you were saying that, and I'm curious what you'll say when you see mine. But we develop these habits, especially for folks like myself who've been playing for many years, and sometimes we need to break those bad habits, and then we need to live with having our performance go down for a little bit before it can go back up again. And yeah, so
people really vary on how quickly they can change those things. I've had students who maybe they don't make their bridge right. There's something wrong there.
Yeah.
Some students will change immediately, and for the whole lesson, they will have that fixed. Other students, you have to keep reminding them that their hand just wants to go like this, and that doesn't work.
Right.
So you have to keep working at that.
So the beginners are probably easier to teach for that reason. Like someone like me might be harder to teach because my bad habits have been ingrained for...
There again, there's a lot of variation even in the brand new players. If you teach them simply an open V bridge, there are some players who get that immediately, that there's no problem there. And there are other players who their hands starts to cramp up.
Yeah.
Just trying to make the simple bridge.
Yeah.
So, and then you have to work through that in various ways.
Well, and that's almost why you can't just teach via YouTube video. Having that one-on-one instructions really, really can step up your game.
And I have had students who tried to learn either through YouTube or from books or columns, and they seemed to kind of understand it, but the understanding did not translate to what they actually do with their body.
Yeah, for sure.
Or their concepts for what the balls are supposed to do.
Right.
They kind of have some idea about a particular shot, but it really hasn't translated onto the table for them for what they either saw or read.
Yeah. And what I also thought about just there was the number of hours is required. There's this saying that you need 10,000 hours at something to get good at it. But I think what's missing for me is consistency. And maybe it's the not practicing. But
Well, in terms of the 10,000 hours, that's generally misquoted.
Mhm.
What the original researcher decided on was that roughly for 10,000 hours, it might be 2,000 or it might be 20,000 actually for some people,
Yeah.
that it has to be directed practice. It's not playing
Yeah.
in league for 10,000 hours.
I think
It's
I've had
actually
that many
on the
hours.
table working on your game for 10,000 hours if you want to be on the pro tour. If on the other hand, you simply want to enjoy playing in league more and you want to learn a few ideas and some techniques that are going to help you in specific situations, then maybe that's a quick fix, but it's not going to get you to be a 9-9 in the APA.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I think we all have different goals, and that ship has probably sailed for me. But you never know. You never know. If I start practicing, maybe it'll transform my game.
Well, I think most players related to APA levels, if they put in an hour of actual practice alone or with a practice partner per week, then they could probably raise their level by a level within a year. But that does actually require that they spend time at the game.
All right. Well, maybe we'll have to check back in a year and see where my skill level's at. So one question I have for you, myself, I often get asked to coach my fellow teammates, usually during a league match. I'm a skill level 5, sometimes shoot like a 6. And my 2s, 3s, and 4s will often ask me for advice.
So that would be during a timeout for
Yeah.
a particular shot.
Yeah,
Okay, so I've seen good coaching and bad coaching.
me too.
So the main thing is that the coaching has to be directed at the level and understanding of the player who's being coached. So a very bad example that I saw, there was this, maybe even a 6, and they had a 2 or a 3, probably a 2, facing 3 balls near pockets and maybe one other ball. And the coach, or the captain, I guess it was, went on for, seemed like 2 or 3 minutes describing, well, if you play this, you play it with a little bit of left and then come around here. But if you want to play this ball, then you have to play it like this and you have to hit it a little harder. And
Yeah.
no, so that coaching should have been, well, the 2 looks pretty good. Just hit about half of it on the left side and you'll be okay. Not too hard now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So at
Yeah.
the level that the beginner can have some hope of actually understanding, but also accomplishing.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So the main point there is to direct the comments at the level of the person who's getting the comments.
Yeah. Yeah. Keep it simple.
Generally keep it simple. If they're trying to figure out between a 5 and a 6 the best way to come around 3 cushions to get on the 7 ball, then that's a little bit different.
Yeah. And especially if that player is really interested in learning new things and trying new things.
Well, I would say not in a match. So in a match, you have to stick with the player you have. You're
Yeah.
not going to improve the player during a match. That doesn't work. The problem is that in that situation, the player is going to be thinking about the shot. And thought destroys action.
Okay, say
If
more
you
about
start
that.
thinking about the shot, it's no good. It has to be natural.
Yeah.
It has to be your arm that's doing the shooting and not your brain.
I have tried to turn my brain off when I shoot.
That's hard.
It is hard, but I do notice that when I'm able to do that, I do shoot a lot better.
Yeah, well, that's what's required for you to get into the zone where you just make shot after shot, and at the end, you don't know how you did it, but it happened.
Yeah.
So that's the real pleasure of getting better. That happens more and more often.
Yeah. Yeah. All right. I think I need to invest in my practice so that I can get like that during my matches.
Let's hope so.
Yeah. Okay. The other question I have for you, especially since you've been in the industry and in the pool world for so long, I know I am really excited to see how crowded the pool halls are getting these days. There's a lot more beginners, I think, that I've noticed getting interested in the sport. And I'm curious what you're seeing as a coach, especially if you have a lot of beginners who are coming to you for instruction.
I am seeing a lot of beginners now. Some of them just, I don't know, maybe they saw a pool on TV or somewhere, or maybe their friends were at a bar. They were at a bar with their friends and they didn't feel like they were playing well enough. And so they've maybe been on a table 2 or 3 times in their life, and now they want to learn how to do it better. So they'll be a little bit more confident in the social situation. Also, I see a fair number of parents who are trying to get their kids started because it's much better for them than video games.
Yeah, that's true.
But
it's in the real world.
It's out in the real world. They actually have to deal with other people and things like that. So there are a lot of advantages to it. So I see a lot of those. As I mentioned, I see a lot of retirees coming back to the game after they played maybe until they were 20 or 25, and then they had a life. And now at 55 or 60, they have time and free time and interest in the game again, and they're starting up.
And it's a great hobby to take you into, even older. So, yeah.
So that's you can play from, well, maybe 10 is about the youngest to actually reach the table up till, there used to be a league player in San Francisco who was 95.
Oh, I love it.
Yeah, and he played pretty well.
I love it. I love it. Well, I think this is a really interesting, and I learned a lot from this, and I'm hoping I can learn a little bit more for free on the table during some demos. And I would love to see what you have for drills so that I can start practicing and not be, such a slacker and not working on my game.
Okay.
But before we do that, we have this little ritual on the Lucky Breaks podcast where we have you ask the Magic 8-Ball a very important question.
Okay.
And it's just a yes or no question. You ask the question, and then when you press the button, hold it close to the microphone so we can hear it.
Okay.
All right. So what is the question?
The question is, will the U.S. ever win the Mosconi Cup again?
Ooh, let's hope so.
Let's hope so.
No.
Oh, man.
Oh, dear.
Ever? That is so negative.
All I can say is I'm going to do my best to change that, but...
How are you involved in the Mosconi Cup?
Well, at this point, I've been to most of them.
Wow.
But with any luck, I'll be training a future Mosconi Cup MVP.
I love it.
So that's my hope.
I love it. Okay, well, maybe the 8-Ball would say yes to that for sure. So, well, thank you so much for being on the podcast, Bob.
Well, it was very interesting.
Yeah, I love it. And
practice.
Yes. If I can do it, you can do it. And I'm looking for a partner. So if anybody wants to be a practice partner, clearly I need one.
Okay.
So, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you next time on the Lucky Breaks podcast.
Bye. Okay, so in this shot, you simply shoot the ball, and what you're looking at is your timing, your straightness, your follow-through. That looks very good. But I want you on each shot to notice whether you go exactly over the donut. That is, the center of the pocket is marked with a paper reinforcement. And does it go exactly over that paper reinforcement? That was off to the left. Try a slower one. Are all of them to the left? Then that's something you need to work on. Okay, so overall, your mechanics look pretty good as far as the stroke timing and follow-through go, but you need to work on your aiming. Okay, so in this drill, I think it is, after you develop the basic mechanics of the previous drill, what you really want to do is develop a little bit more stroke accuracy, tip accuracy on the cue ball, and speed control. So the idea here is you're going to shoot a draw shot, and it's not perfectly straight, so you'll cut the ball a little bit. The cue ball will come back, and you're trying to put the cue ball exactly on that cushion. Okay, so a little bit lower on the ball. That was more than enough speed, but you have to hit the ball a little bit lower. Too much. So the idea, when you get this dialed in, you should be leaving the cue ball within a ball or two of the cushion over there. Like that. Almost froze it. Like that. So the main point of this drill is that you have to have a lot of things working right, or you can't do that. So that even without somebody holding your hand, if you get this perfected, then you're doing a lot of things correctly.
What I think what helped me on this one is I had one that was too short and one that was too long, and then the next one I got to be just right. When you're playing in a match, you don't get that option. You only get one chance.
You have to do it correctly the first time.
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. But anyway, I'm still proud of myself.
Okay, and the final drill I'd like to show you is what is called the wagon wheel. So this is the wagon wheel drill. The idea is that this ball is always going to be here. The cue ball is in hand, so you get to put the cue ball where you want. And for each shot, so for the first shot, you're going to try to make the 13 in the side pocket and have the cue ball come up and just touch the 1. Just softly roll up to the 1. And you have to take enough angle that it's going to go over there to the side. So the whole point is that you have to figure out what angle is needed. Like that. All right. On to the 2 ball. So what this teaches you is the natural path of the cue ball for various cut shots. So that was a little bit narrow. Now you want to take more angle on the 1 ball. That's pretty close. And you have to make the ball. But that would have been just right if you'd pocketed the 1. And so the other thing that you really have to do on this shot is put the ball into the center of the pocket, because otherwise there's no control of the cue ball. If you don't know where the object ball is going, the cue ball is unlikely to go the right place. So there again, it went to the side. In the middle, I think it would have been fine. So the cue ball was in the right place that time, so you want to put the cue ball back where it was, exactly. Right. So this is part of doing drills. If you mark the location of the cue ball, or the edge of the cue ball, like right there, so it's marking the edge, that's too much. Maybe there, maybe here. Okay, let's try that. Put the 15 right in the center of the pocket. Like that. So now you know that to get the cue ball with that angle, the natural path of it is to where the 2 was. Okay, one more. Let's go for the 4 ball. Perfect.
Nailed it.
Okay.
That's a good one.
I think those drills were awesome. Thank you, Bob. I will definitely try those with my next pool partner, my buddy.
That wraps up another episode. A big thank you to our guest for joining us today and sharing their story. If you want to connect with our guest, their contact info can be found in the show notes for this episode. Also, please show your support by liking and subscribing.
We hope you enjoyed this episode of the Lucky Breaks podcast. You can find more episodes at youtube.com/@luckybreaks-podcast or by searching for Lucky Breaks on your favorite podcast player. This episode was produced by Sue Lueder, Aaron Schulman, and Beth Jung. Thank you for your support. Sign up to be a guest on a future episode from our YouTube channel page.